G'day, Wombat here, and in today's budget gear we're going to take a look at the Blackstar ID Core Stereo 20. So a little while ago I did an amp video on beginner amps as part of the beginner series, and the ID Core Stereo 20 version 1 was one of those amps that I talked about. Very good amp. So today we're going to have a look at the new version 2. Now these have been out a little bit of a while. Let's see what exactly this thing's all about. So it is a 2x10 watt amp, okay, and it features a super wide stereo software involved in the amplifier itself. So whilst it's only really a 10 watt amp, it sounds much bigger than that. I mean, this thing sounds pretty huge, and for a 10 watt or a 2x10 watt amp, it is really loud. It is really quite loud. I was super impressed with how much volume this thing had to give me. So it was really impressive in the first place, and the version 2 is really interesting. So let's have a quick look. It is a 6-channel amp. Now there's not many other amps at this kind of a price range that's going to offer you 6 different channels. All right. It has 2 clean channels, a bright and a warm. It has 2 crunch channels, and it has 2 overdrive channels, or OD channels. Now the funny thing is that the OD channels are actually the high gain channels. You would expect them to be, more of a rock sort of a distortion, or a bluesy kind of a distortion with the term like OD. But they're actually the high gain channels, and man, has this thing got some gain on hand for you. It will do metal very easily. It does rock, it does blues. Any kind of sound you can think of, you're going to get out of this amp, which makes it extremely versatile. It is a really versatile amp. On the amp itself, we have a knob for the channels, or they call them voices. We have 3 knobs. We have a gain, a volume, and an EQ. Now the EQ is actually the ISF feature that a lot of Blackstar amps have. So you turn it all the way to what would normally be all the way up, and you're going to get a more British style of tone to the amp. If you turn it all the way down to what we would normally look at as 0, you get more of an American style of amplifier sound. So that makes it even more versatile as well. As well as that, it has a really good effects section. There's quite a lot of effects on offer here. We have 4 different delays, we have 4 different types of reverb, and 4 different types of modulation effects. So we have a phaser, a chorus flanger, an envelope filter, and a tremolo effect, all inbuilt into the amp. As well as that, there's also an onboard tuner. So it packs a lot into a small package, but anything that you could possibly think of, you're going to be able to dial in that sound. The effects themselves are pretty good, and they do make a difference. As well as the effect, or type of effect, you've also got a level, so the amount of effect you want to add to colour that sound that you've got. So for a beginner amp, I mean for a student amp or your first amplifier, this thing is absolutely killer. So what's different about this in the version 2 as opposed to the version 1? Well, they haven't done too much. I mean, they were onto a winning thing in the first place, so you don't want to change too much. What they have done is they have sort of revoiced the MP3 line in and the emulated out parts of the amplifier to make them sound just a little bit better. They've also given slight tweaks to all of the voicings or channels just to upgrade them slightly. They've also upgraded the software that's in this as well. and it just all over just tries to tighten the amp up and make it just sound that little bit better whilst not changing too much. Also on board is a USB connection. So the USB connection is really good. They have a free software package that you can download off their website, and by plugging your USB from the amp into your computer, it allows you much deeper editing and patch saving ability that you don't really get on the amp. The amp itself, and we'll show some footage of the amp controls as we go along here, the amp itself doesn't have that many controls on it. It's really aimed at being a simple amp to get around. But if you want more in-depth editing, you can do that on your computer by plugging this thing in, which is a really, really handy thing to do. It also helps with recording facilities because it comes with recording software included in the package. So all of that just wraps up a really, really great sounding amp that sounds much bigger than its physical size and sounds fantastic and extremely versatile for you beginners out there who are looking for your first really good amp. This one, you'd be hard pressed to beat. It is a great sounding amp. Alright, so recommended retail price on these guys is around about 330 Australian dollars. So not too bad. Maybe a little bit getting up there as far as a beginner's first amp goes. But if you are in Australia and would like to have a look at one, go to Variety Music, who supplied me this amp for the review today. Thank you very much, Variety Music. They are doing it for around about 250 bucks, which just brings it right down into a ballpark figure that will compete with any beginner amp on the market. And not many of them at that price range have 6 different channels, I can tell you. For those of you outside of Australia, I'll also include a link to where you can have a look at this for yourself in the rest of the world. Alright, so that's about it for the ID Core Stereo 20 V2. It is a stunning little amp, and it will cover just about any genre of music that you would like to play as an aspiring guitar player. Alright, so there we are. The ID Core Stereo 20. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and as always, rock on, guys!